Hi, I'm Stutzman. I'm the head trainer at Bay Athletic Club in Alpena, Michigan. Today I'm going to show you how to use the med ball in order to program great workouts either at home or at a space with limited amount of equipment. The medicine ball is a great tool and can really be used to challenge resistance in a variety of different exercises in a lot of different ways. It's really appropriate for a lot of different levels and fitness enthusiasts. It's a pretty inexpensive piece of equipment, doesn't take up a lot of space. As far as the size of the med ball to get started with, anywhere between 4 and 8 pounds is really an appropriate starting range. If you're not quite sure, you can always go a little bit on the smaller end, and then there's ways to progress your exercises. We're going to start off, we're going to use the med ball to load different phases of a deadlift and a squat pattern. I'll show you how we can progress these and make them a little bit more difficult. So to start with the deadlift pattern, I'm just going to hold the ball down at arm's length, and from here, focusing on keeping the weight back in the heels, hinging backwards through the hips, taking the ball as low as I can, and then driving up. That's going to add a little bit of resistance to that movement, but more importantly, your users are going to really connect that deadlift to that hip motion. From there, I can bring the med ball up to the chest, and that little bit right there is going to make a huge difference because now I've brought my center of gravity up. So as I get lower into that squat deadlift pattern, it's wanting to take me forward, and I really have to brace and stabilize through the core in order to stay there. I can further take that out by extending the ball away from the midline of the body and then changing the lever length through the arms, which again is going to start to want to pull the body forward. So I have to further brace through the trunk in order to keep a nice neutral spine and then start to move into my squat pattern from there. You can also start to add a little bit more movement to that where I'm pressing out and in and moving through. Another great thing about the med ball is you can really start to play with the tempo of your exercises. So with this particular exercise, I can go at a fairly moderate pace. If I want to increase or even just change the challenge, I can go very slow, hold, very slow on the way up, or I can start to go very quickly if I want a little bit more of a conditioning challenge. Along the same principles of changing your lever length for various resistance, I can start to take the med ball overhead as well. As I take this further and further and further overhead, it's really going to challenge the muscles through my trunk in order to keep me stabilized because I've taken my center of gravity so high. From here, there's lots of different movements I can get into. Just a simple up and down shoulder press and really focusing on trying to lock the arms at the top, keeping the palms on the ball like I'm trying to pop it, and not just compensating by just getting my fingers on it for lack of shoulder mobility. I can start to take this into what we call a Y press, where I'm going to get a little bit of lateral movement through the spine while trying to keep weight evenly balanced on both feet. So I'm trying not to shift side to side, but just move through the trunk. And again, start to play with tempo on those. A little bit faster, a little bit slower. When doing different ground-based exercises for either the chest or for the trunk, the medicine ball can be a great way to change stability and add a little bit more challenge there. Now, that being the issue, make sure that your clients or your participants are able to hold a good solid plank before we start adding stability challenges. We can take the med ball and just in a simple plank start to offset a little bit and try and get them to hold here, and that's going to be a very different challenge from just holding the plank with both hands on the ground. If I want to begin to add a little bit more movement into that, I can start in here and start rolling the ball and trying to catch in between and trying to keep the body as still as possible as I'm shifting weight from hand to hand. Can also bring both hands on the ball, which is going to really increase that challenge and make it a lot harder to stabilize. For some of your upper level participants, we can start to do some more dynamic and explosive movements on and off the ball. Starting with the hands on the ground, if the ball will stay still, and an explosive motion coming up and stick, and then drop down. Coming up, stick, and drop down. I can further turn this into a full push up and drop down. Push up and drop down. Not only is that really going to challenge the muscles, the pushing muscles, but a ton of core stability as I'm moving in and out of those explosive movements. Slams and throws are another really cool way to be able to use the medicine ball. I'm sure a lot of you experimented with different medicine ball throws. We can go regular chest tosses, hip tosses, overheads. Slams are one of my favorites because they're really easy to do with a single person, or if you don't have a really solid wall to do throws and rebounds over. Starting simply with just some overhead slams, bringing the ball down with some force, catch, and return. From here, again, I can start to really play with tempo and power. So if I want it really, really challenging, I can try and go as hard and as fast as I can. There's a lot of great strength going on there, as well as you'll really, really feel your heart rate start to get up. Play with different slams. We don't just have to go overhead. We can start working in some side to sides, or even some from the grounds and up. I can start with the ball down, pick up, throw, let it fall, reset, pick up, throw, let it fall, and so on and so forth. This is one of the exercises that can be more appropriate for a heavier medicine ball with your more advanced participants or people who have been around fitness a little bit longer.
Yeah.
There are literally thousands of exercises and variations to use with the med ball. I hope today you just got a few new ideas. This is really just the tip of the iceberg. Use your talent, use your creativity in order to take some of the things you've learned today and incorporate them into your own program, your own exercises, and your own routines for your participants.